Welcome back. All right, so since the first part of this seemed to do pretty well, I'm going to do a second part today, and then it's likely other parts will be posted to the channel both before we go on vacation and then while we're on vacation. So, kindergarten through grade four. Yep. I also wanted to say I was thinking about something that I did remember from Regina, which is that I remember the snow being at window level in the kitchen, and I was sad that I couldn't go out in it. I figured I could probably tunnel underneath the snow. And my mom's like, no, because it's Regina. It was probably, minus 80 or something like that. When I was a little kid, I didn't understand. And then we moved to Chilliwack. The first thing I learned about Chilliwack was no snow. Now, they got snow and still get snow, but not very often and not usually with the kind of depth that I would get when I lived in the prairies, right? We also didn't get the thunderstorms. I found BC weather kind of boring and kind of wet, just a lot of rain, right? And that really is again still the case today, although it's warmer now than it was when I was a kid. But yeah, kindergarten through grade four. Kindergarten I spent at one school. I'm pretty sure that the school I should have been in was already full by the time my mother went to register me, so I had to go to one school for kindergarten. I switched schools for grade one. When you switch schools, you're not going to know anybody, you're going to be socially awkward, and this guy is very socially awkward, so it probably didn't help. Also, the fact that the whole way through, I always had to have just a crush on a girl. I always, from when I was a little kid. Kindergarten? Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. I don't remember who the crush was in kindergarten, but I know there was one because there's always one, right? Now, of course, I'm married, so that is no longer a thing. But yeah, as a kid, there was always a crush here and there, and I have never had good luck when it comes to relationships and romance. It just hasn't been a thing, and that started when I was a kid too. But I will talk about that. That's why these two names are on the board here because I want to talk about it. Um, and we'll get there. But grade one, probably had my favorite teacher. But to show how different things were when I was in grade one, kids got spanked for getting out of line. It was always the same two kids. So we knew who was going to get spanked. It was just a matter of when. And then there was Bible reading all the time in class as well. And so that was a big part of it. Now, I don't know how much of that had to do with being near the Army base, because being near the military base, I also took French from grade one all the way through till grade 10. And I really picked up French quickly as a kid. When I got to middle school, which we referred to as junior high at the time, um, I definitely wasn't an A student when it came to the French at that point. I think I was tired of it. I think it was kind of like, okay, I think I've learned enough. I think I'm good now. But at any rate, grades one through four were interesting, to say the least. I liked my grade one teacher. I was not a fan of my grade two teacher. She didn't like me either. It was awkward. Grade three, good teacher. Also a teacher that talked to my mother a lot, so I had to watch what I did in class, because if I didn't, my mother worked as a cashier, and one of her most regular customers was my grade three teacher. So if I got out of line or if I did something stupid, um, my mom would find out from the teacher. So I had to be really careful. I was a well behaved kid, anyways, but back in my mind, I always knew, gotta watch what I say with that teacher. Grade four, my grade four teacher was one of my absolute favorites. Mr. Maxey was great. He was fun. He had a good sense of humor. He knew how to teach, and just seemed like a great down to earth guy. And everybody liked him. I don't remember anybody not liking him. And even when he was having a hard time with a student in class, he wouldn't yell and scream at him. He would just kind of be like, "Hey," snap his fingers and be like, "You with us? Are you here? Are you here? You sure? You sure? Can I get back to teaching the class? You gonna pay attention?" So we'd kind of get a laugh out of it. The kid might be a little bit embarrassed, but it didn't involve a bunch of screaming and making a scene, which I appreciated. Now, athletically, I mean, I was right around average, I guess, as a little kid, but being shorter than other kids doesn't help. And I definitely had some challenges when it came to sports, and just, I think being an only child might have been part of it too. I don't know. At any rate, I did enjoy playing soccer. I enjoyed floor hockey and road hockey. Whole way through all my life, I've enjoyed floor hockey and road hockey. And yeah, I really I tried my best to go out and do stuff after school. I'm trying to think of when the earliest was that I was out playing road hockey all the time. Wouldn't have been in grade four. That really became like a major thing once I got to middle school, which again I thought of as junior high. That's what we called it at the time. Although I know I played in the trailer park too, and of course I grew up in a trailer park. Of course I did. Reason that I love Trailer Park Boys, and then yeah, that's pretty accurate. Really pretty accurate. There were times where I'd watch Trailer Park Boys and think to myself, man, did they grow up in the same place I did? Because this looks really, really similar, right down to people growing drugs at their grandmother's trailers. Like that's okay. That doesn't seem legal, but all right. But who's gonna bust grandma? So, anyways, the one I wanted to talk a bit about the French play too. We had a French play, and this one girl, and her name's not on the board, but this one girl, I thought she was pretty. I don't know. I got the feeling she thought I was cute too, but there were a bunch of other guys who thought she was pretty, so I got elbowed out of the way pretty quickly. She had just transferred in, and because we were right next to an army base, that was the thing. You couldn't get attached to any friends because they were gone within a year or two. So it was very common that somebody'd come to your school and be like, "Hey, great," you get along great with them, and 2 years later they're gone. You never see them again. And so this one girl, she was supposed to. I'm supposed to open the door. I'm supposed to say "Il neige." It snowed, and she was supposed to hit me with. Now, when we were practicing this, um, we used like giant paper snowflakes to represent the snow, and I was like, all right, well, it's gonna look cheesy, but it'll be fine, right? When we actually did the play, however, and now I'm wearing pajamas. I'm wearing my like heavy pajamas that kids wore back in the early '80s. I'm trying to remember what they were. I want to say Knight Rider because everything was Knight Rider at one point in my life. But they might have been Star Wars too. But anyways, I noticed that when we were doing the actual play, that instead of having the giant snowflakes, she had basically they'd taken, I don't know if they emptied out a 3-hole punch or all of the 3-hole punches in the school, but I got nailed with all those little pieces of paper, so like confetti, from a 3-hole punch, and I was just covered from head to toe with parents watching and laughing, and I kept going. It did not throw me off. I had to pause for a moment because, like, okay, now I'm covered in this, and it wasn't going anywhere because that just stuck to my pajamas because as a kid, yeah. And she's laughing really hard. In fact, I could see her with the bucket like this, and I was like, okay, just wait now, hold on, just no. But yeah, she got me pretty good, and of course everybody thought it was really funny. But I remember that play, and I remember I did well. I remember that it went pretty well, and that was the first time that I went on stage in front of people that I can recall, and I realized I liked it. I realized that I enjoyed performing. I enjoyed doing that kind of thing, and my French teacher was overjoyed with how the play went. She was a character. She actually drove a Le Car. If you've never seen a Le Car, it's because I don't think they make them anymore, at least not on this side of the pond. But yeah, she had a Le Car, and every now and then too, she would get into that tiny little car, and her skirt would be caught out the door. So she'd just drive, and you could see like part of her long skirt out the door, and you'd be like, there she goes. There's our French teacher. It's just that's her. And she also pointed with her middle finger a lot, and she never understood why we as kids thought that was really funny. Um, what is she pointing? Like she'd have her middle finger up at the board like this, and be like, she's flipping all of us off, right? So she was my French teacher until grade 5. So from grade 1 to grade 5, I had the same French teacher. She would just come into the class, and she'd take over for an hour. I assume that's when our teacher would go for a smoke, go for a coffee, go chat in the room with all the other teachers about how stupid we all were. And so yeah, that was enjoyable, different. I remember learning all the accents in French and learning the vowels and everything. And I would get nervous about giving the right answer because she'd get like really over the top excited that I gave the right answer. Like it's just, oh, that's great, you give the right. Okay, all right. Anybody else seen this? She is like way over the top. But she was a very nice lady, and she would eventually transfer out. But since I'm only going through grade 4, I'm not going to talk about who came in and replaced her. But the boys were very happy with her replacement. So, which again will be in the next video. So the one thing with me, I think being raised as an only child, I was always kind of solitary, and I always preferred to just have like one friend I would hang out with, one person. I still do that. On Facebook, I will just message one person, and I'll wait for a response from that one person. And even though I've got all these people on my friends list, people I haven't talked to in years, I'll just suddenly decide, you know what? I should talk to this person. As an example, this week I messaged my friend Chrissy. We used to hang out a lot. We worked together for years. I haven't seen her in ages. She lives up north, but she's great. And I was like, you know, I haven't talked to Chrissy in a long time, so I just messaged her. We had a conversation for a couple of days, and then, man, I want to keep it up, though. Like, I kind of like, you know what? I need to actually have a conversation with her and talk to her at least once a week and just see how she's doing. Because, again, we were really good friends. And anytime I had any kind of issues or I needed any advice, she was fantastic for me. So, Chrissy, if you watch this, and I don't think you watch my videos, but if you did, miss you. Now, Danielle, my first official, actual, real girlfriend. I always talk about how I was almost 26 before I had like an actual serious adult girlfriend. But in grade 3, there was Danielle. She and I thought each other were cute. Now, she was taller than I was, which was never a problem for me, and being shorter, I had to make sure that that was clear, that I don't care if a girl's taller than I am. I don't care. Every now and then, if I had a crush on a girl that was taller than me, somebody asks something stupid like, "But how are you going to kiss her?" I don't know. How do short girls kiss tall guys? They figure it out. But Danielle was a really nice girl. She was funny, and she wanted me to refer to her with my last name in place of hers. Now I'm going to give her last name, Smith. Yeah, right. So, have I ever tried looking for her? Yeah. Going back to, I want to say the 90s, I was looking and like, it's Danielle Smith. Good luck. Good luck. She was in the military. Her dad was in the military, meaning she probably moved around a lot. I know she moved to Manitoba from BC, and then after that, who knows? Because that would have been, oh man, 1982? So, right? And again, no, she is not currently the premier of Alberta. Which is why when she became premier of Alberta, I'm like, it's a common name. There was also a Danielle Smith, I think, that was a news broadcaster in Canada. But, again, not the same person. But she was great, and we decided one day, you know what? She's got me using her last name anyways, so why don't we do like a fake little marriage ceremony? We'll do a fake little marriage ceremony. It was a cute idea. I made snowmen because it had been snowing. I made snowmen for like, you know, best man and bridesmaid and had them all made up. And we had somebody who was going to do the vows. One of my friends was going to pretend to be the ring bearer. Like, we had the whole thing planned. And she was gung-ho for it. I was gung-ho for it. And then it leaked out. So when something like that leaks out, it spreads like wildfire. People are like, these two in grade 3 are getting married. And it was obviously, we're not getting married, and it was just for fun. But holy, when that got out, and the day of when we were going to do this cutesy little ceremony got out, yeah, they descended upon us. They tried pushing us together so we'd kiss each other. The weird thing is, I had no problem with kissing her. She had no problem with kissing me. We certainly were not doing it in front of other kids. So we would get close and then just do this. Like, I don't think so. What do you guys do? No. And sometimes I would give her a kiss because otherwise she'd tell me she was going to kick me, and she would. Because there were times like, I don't think so, and then she'd kick me. I'd be like, okay, all right, fine. So I don't know what kind of a person she would have turned into as a teenager or beyond, but yeah, she was a nice girl, and I do like wonder what happened to her. Same with Jenny. Jenny was a year later, so Danielle, grade 3, fantastic. She moved away. Her dad gets posted, goes off to Manitoba. So at the end of the school year, I had a tearful goodbye with Danielle. Now, she did play t-ball. So I would see, and the t-ball was right behind my trailer, so I could go out and talk to her. The problem was she's in the outfield, so if she's talking to me and she doesn't catch a ball, teammates aren't going to be very happy. So, you know, Danielle and I said our goodbyes, and I think we kissed each other through the fence. I think that was the thing. So it's cute upon cute upon cute, right? But grade 4, Jenny shows up. And Jenny was actually a friend of mine, so there was a girl that I was kind of palling up with, and I don't know, I was kind of like, I don't know, do I want to go out with this girl? Maybe not. She was kind of the type that I would like, and kind of not at the same time. But she introduced me to Jenny, and Jenny and I right away, it was like, okay, we like each other. So then the first awkward part was me telling a friend of mine, I'm going to hang out with her now and she's going to hang out with me because I asked her if she wanted to be my girlfriend and she said yes. A question I have never asked Yvonne. Technically, Yvonne and I are not together. It's weird now when I look at people asking each other to be girlfriend, boyfriend. I find that so odd. Just hang out together and just, yeah, we're together. I haven't asked a girl out in a very long time. I've told somebody I care about them, but yeah, that's totally different. But Jenny was great. Jenny, again, military family, you know it. Did she stay past grade 4? No. So she moved away at the end of grade 4. Her dad got posted. I think he went to Victoria. I think they got posted to Victoria, where I think she still lives. I have not, stalked her and tracked her down. Looks like she's married, had kids. I'm very happy for her, and she looks the same as she did as a little kid. Like, just when I was looking using her maiden name, and right away I was like, that's her. Looks the same. So good on her. I think she looks great for a woman approaching 50. I think she looks fantastic. I don't look like that as a woman at 50. So yeah, Jenny was fine. We did break up for a while, and this was where things got tricky. She was the first girl I ever said I love you to, and I did it because I wanted to go out with her again, even though we'd broken up. And I actually said, I know we're going to get back together because we love each other. And I paused, and that's at grade 4, right? So like, who talks like that in grade 4? It worked. We were together until she moved away. The day before she moved, she didn't play t-ball, so I didn't have a chance to see her in the field out behind my place. But the day before she moved, a friend of mine, a girl I knew from the trailer park, and I said, we're going to go to her place. Now, I had a bicycle that I wasn't allowed to take outside of the trailer park. Mom's big rule. You do not, if you take this bike outside the trailer park, you are grounded. So I went to Jenny's house on my bike. I was like, I'm taking the bike because it's going to be late when I come back. I don't want to take forever getting home in the dark. So I'm just taking my bike. So I went, we waved to each other through her window. I talked to her for a bit at her back door. We did have like a goodbye kiss and all of that. And then I went home. When I went home, my mom was waiting for me. You took your bike outside of the park. And I went, yep, I did. She's like, you're grounded. And I said, yep, I'm grounded. Because my girlfriend had just left. I no longer had a reason to want to leave the trailer park. My friends were all in the trailer park. So I played this that way with like, okay, if I'm going to get grounded, it's going to be the last day before Jenny leaves. And then she's gone. So I have a reason to leave the park anyways. I can just play in the backyard. It's not like my mom would have made me stay in the house because that wasn't a punishment for me. My room was my sanctuary. Sanctuary is the word I'm looking for. I was going to say sanctimonium. Like, that's not it. But my room, I had a record player, I had cassette player, I had Hot Wheels, I had hockey cards, I had my table hockey game. I had everything I needed for this imagination up here. I could just play in my room all day. You wouldn't even know I was there. Really. I would even keep my door closed and just, that was it. In part because both of my parents smoked and I did not like the smell of smoke. And also one thing about being a little kid is people will just tell you, you stink. And it was because both of my parents were smokers. I've never smoked, never will. But yeah, there was a lot of that in the house. So I just made a rule. It was about grade 4 actually I come up with the rule. My door stays closed. Nobody, including my parents, goes in my room unless they ask me first. And that was a big part of it, was just the smell. And I like my privacy. I always like my privacy. Now I'm a YouTuber. Huh. Anyways, that being said, I've gone through some of the odd stuff about me already. I was going to have like a snowman wedding in grade 3. And there's people right now watching this going, why isn't there footage of this magical moment? Because nobody had a camera. There was no footage. I guarantee there were some very confused teachers that day. So what was going on? Because they had to come out and break it up, right? But, and we never did get married. Never did get married. But that was kind of my first wife. Because she would make, and I couldn't call her Danielle. If I called her Danielle, I got kicked too. It had to be Danny. She went by Danny, and she wanted my last name, which is Skanes. And so I had to call her Danny Skanes or I got kicked. That was it. You get kicked if you get out of line. So, Yeah, I have no idea what happened to either. Well, I know where Jenny ended up. I have a pretty good idea of where Jenny ended up, and again, I know life ended up pretty good for her. I just hope it ended up good for Danielle as well. But yeah, it was elementary school was challenging in parts. I did enjoy elementary school enough that when I got to junior high and I had a really rough time at points, I would go back to my elementary school. There were a couple of teachers I stayed in contact with, and I would just go and just see them after school. I would just go and see them. You know, they'd be cleaning up after class. Just talk to them, just to remind myself. Right, I used to really enjoy school. This used to be a lot of fun, and then it wasn't anymore. But yeah, trying to think anything else from during that time. That would have been too when I was getting into hockey and just really getting into hockey, which started with hockey cards. I had, I think it was 2 boxes of O-Pee-Chee that would have been third year Wayne Gretzky, second year Mark Messier, first year Paul Coffey, Paul Coffey's obscure cousin, Wayne Coffey. But all those like really expensive cards, they got destroyed. Our house, our trailer was crappy. The ceiling around everything was crap, so we got a really bad rainstorm, and our trailer flooded, and all of my hockey cards got ruined, absolutely destroyed. 2 boxes worth. So I don't want to think about how much money that was worth, but that memory's still in my brain. It wasn't long after that either that my mom and dad figured out the trailer we were living in was not good enough. It was not going to suit our needs. The furnace in it was junk too, so you'd have like soaking wet carpets because there was no proper sealing of the place, and then the furnace would go out, so now you're cold and the place is all wet, and then you get the mildew, you can get mold. Not great. So we got a new trailer. That was in grade 4 actually. We got the new trailer. That would have been grade 4. And my mom and I wanted a trailer that had a nice sunken living room. So you had the kitchen at the front and a sunken living room, and then you step up to go to the hallway to the back. My dad liked another one though because it had like a vaulted ceiling like this. My mom and I didn't like that. So we got the one my dad liked because, of course, we had nothing but trouble with that trailer. Every time we had trouble with that trailer, I swear my mom would be cursing under her breath about how my dad had to have that trailer. The roof, that was like, yeah, we had nothing but problems with that roof constantly. And if we couldn't afford to fix it, my mom would be on the roof fixing it. I always felt bad for her with that because it shouldn't have been her job, but you know, dad wouldn't do it. So yeah, and again, as I go through these videos, there'll be stuff that occurs to me that I haven't thought about in a long time, like the roof of that old trailer, and the fact that it flooded like it did, which had to be absolutely awful for my parents. I know it wasn't fun for me either. My bedroom, I believe, was at the my bedroom was at the back of that trailer. My parents' bedroom was at the front of that trailer, but it was only 60 feet long. So I think it was 10 by 60, and then the trailer we replaced it with was 12 by 70. So that's a huge upgrade there. The nice thing was in grade 4, they also decided to put in proper sanitation, and so you had to put all the pipes through our yard. So our yard, in grade 4, they dug it all up, and then they just put all the dirt back in whatever order they felt like, it seemed. And you couldn't grow a lawn in our yard for years after that. My mom did everything she could. You just couldn't grow a lawn because it wasn't really topsoil that we had to deal with. It was just kind of a mess. But as far as I know, that yard now is good. The one thing is, of course, I had a tree that I planted when I was a kid. And I was so, I remember that tree got taller than me. And I was like, man, this tree, it's going to be great to track it. Somebody bought that trailer and cut it down. So if you cut that tree down, feel bad. That was my tree. That was absolutely my tree. And that was, I want to say grade 4 is also when I discovered mint is very invasive. My mom got some mint for the garden, and eventually it was our yard, which was okay because you couldn't grow grass, so at least the mint was green. So, and every time that you mowed the lawn, you'd smell mint all around the neighborhood. But I'm not the neighborhood, but I think the neighbors could smell it. And again, at least it grew in that crappy dirt that we had that was supposed to be topsoil. But yeah, there you go. So from kindergarten through grade 4, and my grades were pretty good. Kindergarten, you just get out of kindergarten. I was an A honor student in grade 1, B honor student in grades 2 and 3. I think I had B plus honors in grade 4, and then once we get to grade 5, I got along really well with my teacher. I got an A honors that year. What a great year grade 5 was. I peaked early. I peaked in grade 5. What can I tell all you fine people of the internet? But there you go, part 2. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. As always, don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you've not done so already. And there will definitely be a lot of talk about, the hockey side of it too as I go through this. But at this point, I'm just a little kid. So my hockey knowledge at that point is just whatever the hockey cards tell me, whatever the annuals I've started buying are telling me. And of course, I had to replace those hockey cards that got destroyed. I ended up getting some hockey cards from a friend of mine who felt bad my cards got destroyed. But he wrote on his. So I don't have those cards anymore either. All right, there you go. Thank you guys so much for all your support as always. If you're browsing around and you just found this video because you're a Hockey Guys subscriber, now you can subscribe to this channel as well. Thank you guys so much for all your support, and do hit like and subscribe if you haven't done so already. Thanks for all your support, as I said, and I will talk to you again soon.